Welcome to another edition of Finest City Insider. Very excited today. I have Angelo Peraza with Finest City, part of the Peraza team. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Very excited.
Very cool. Well, Angelo, I really enjoyed our conversation of, your business lately. And I know we work with all different types of buyers, but your typical buyer was what you were telling me was the first-time buyer?
Yes, first-time home buyer. I feel that me being in that same realm, in the sense of being same age group, having a lot of the same interests, having a lot of, I guess, the same questions. That's something that I'm passionate about. Passionate about educating the younger buyer. I've quickly learned that there are a lot of people out there that do not, one, understand the importance of home ownership. The benefits, long-term tax benefits, all the things that come with owning a home. They've never been educated on that.
Sure.
And in addition to that, not really knowing what the process looks like. I think a lot of times we take for granted that people do their own research on what it takes to buy a home. But at the end of the day, it's our job to educate them. It's our job to advise them. So that they can make a confident decision and a decision that is beneficial for their situation.
Absolutely. And I know that, there's different approaches of educating some of our viewers or some of our audience. One thing that I've really liked and I've really enjoyed, all the great social media posts that you're making lately. A lot of the educational posts. Walk us through a little bit of that, of what you have in mind with that, and I guess how you are educating these first-time homebuyers.
I think the content that I'm trying to put out and the type of content is definitely educational centered. I know we all love to post the funny meme, the funny reel, but I like to emphasize and focus more on educating the first-time homebuyer. Just because, like I said, I think we take for granted that something as simple as knowing the difference between an FHA, a conventional loan, not knowing what it takes to actually get pre-approved. I think those are some basic things that people need to know. And me being able to make content, educating a client, educating a person about what it takes. It's something that I enjoy doing, one, and it's something that me being a younger agent, it's a lot easier for me to make content and kind of know what type of content will do good.
Yeah.
And kind of making it my own, keeping it simplified, but at the same time keeping it informed, keeping it
relatable. Yeah. And that's what I've really enjoyed. I felt like they were very relatable. Different styles, of course, when you're on where you're just looking at any marketing, such as social media. You seem to do a really good job with keeping your authentic self and making it personal as well, which I'm sure some of your first-time home buyers enjoy.
Yeah, I think it's obviously keeping it professional, but at the same time, the people need to know my sphere, the people that follow me, they need to know that I'm also just like them.
Yeah.
People want to work with, that they relate to, that they like. And I think being able to sprinkle that into your content, I think that's when it can really turn into a true pillar in prospecting.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And, I think in general in our business and in really any industry, there's a lot of misconceptions. What would you say some of the, top misconceptions that a first-time home buyer could have that's far from the truth?
I think a lot of pushback I get is comparing monthly payments. Obviously, we're in a San Diego market where more times than not, your monthly rent is going to be substantially cheaper than a mortgage.
Sure.
And so it's very easy for a first-time home buyer to say, Angelo, why would I go buy something when I can save $2,000 a month renting in a place where I really want to be? And that's our job to really educate them on, yes, the payment will be more, but what are you getting with it long term? You're getting all types of benefits, and
Yeah.
I think it's like I mentioned, it's our job to advise them and paint the full picture instead of just relying on bits and pieces that the news and social media start to put into a young buyer's mind.
I think that's great, and I think it's so fantastic that you're educating them. I mean, I think it always makes me think of that saying that it's very difficult to save your way to wealth. Investing your way to wealth is through home ownership with appreciation and things like that. I'd imagine you're going over some things like that.
Yeah, and it hasn't been until recently where I really understood the idea of leverage.
Yes.
And understand how real estate is a very, very powerful tool with growing your wealth.
Yep.
It's not just equity, it's not just appreciation, it's being able to use your equity, it's being able to leverage your real estate. That's when
Starts
the
clicking.
magic. That's when the magic really happens.
Absolutely, and I'm on the same line of thoughts with you. In the stock market, you're investing your money. Use for an example, $100,000. Your $100,000 is valued at that $100,000, but when you invest that in real estate, your asset is appreciating based off the value of the real estate. So if you invested that $100,000 into $1 million real estate with appreciation, the normal appreciating market in San Diego, we've had some crazy appreciations, which they've been, 20% some years, but a normal appreciating market in San Diego is about 6 to 7%. So you'd earn, $60,000 to $70,000 on $1 million property, and if you do that in the stock market on $100,000, you'd have to have a 60 to 70% appreciating year just to compare to real estate. It's hard to see that. It's hard to see that as I think, as a younger adult, because you might not have gone through that with real estate. So I think that's a really special thing that you're actually, what we call that, like showing the receipts. You're actually being able to show history with appreciation and property values to these, I'm sure, younger adults.
Yeah, I think a big way that I like to educate and a big way that I like to go about showing first-time home buyers is it comes down to giving them the information and giving them what the actual reality is, and having them being able to make an educated choice, right? Because it's one thing that the news outlets are saying and what the media tells you and what TikTok is telling you, but it's another thing that it's a completely different aspect of what you can really do with real estate. Absolutely.
Totally agree with you. The other thing is, Angelo, besides you, the whole Peraza family, I've always been very impressed, just how you treat your business like a business, and I noticed you're very dedicated with your day. Will you walk us through just kind of what a typical week looks like for you, or a day? What are you accomplishing throughout the week?
Yeah, I'm very very OCD, maybe too OCD at times. I like to time block my day, but every day starts out the same. I have about a 15 point checklist in Google Sheets that I'll do every day, Monday to Sunday. Whether it starts with checking texts, checking emails, all the way down to watching an informational YouTube video. And I need that list to stay focused and to make sure that I'm hitting my goals on a day-to-day basis. But every day, there's three main things that I need to do. It's sales, it's marketing, and it's product knowledge. Product knowledge being whether it's a podcast, whether it's literature, whether it's watching a video. I need to be informed on what's happening in the current market. And as you know, there's always something new to learn. And if I want people to trust me and if I want people to be comfortable using me as a realtor, I need to be, one, educated, and I need to be informed. constantly informed.
Yeah, that's great. Great 3 key points to hit on a daily basis. That's amazing. What about prospecting? How do you walk us through kind of how you handle your prospecting and get new business?
Yeah. So my 2 forms are going to be my sphere and social media. Social media is going to be Instagram and YouTube short form reels. Currently, I have a goal of posting 1 educational short form, and when I say short form, that means 60 to 90 seconds. 1 of those a day. That post will get posted to Instagram and YouTube, and that'll be education centered. And then on top of that, I make it a point to have 2 coffee dates within my sphere, to not only nurture my current sphere, but also try to build out my sphere. Whether it's a friend of a friend or a friend of a cousin, there's always someone new that you can meet. And you never know who knows someone.
That's great. And your sphere, I'd imagine, family, friends, but you also recently graduated at some point.
Yes. Yeah, I graduated from the University of San Diego. I played baseball since I was 4 years old, all the way through college.
That's amazing.
So on that same note, a lot of my first-time clients have been from sports.
Yeah, that's great.
My first sale was from my past teammate when I was 9 years old. His parents wanted to buy something. I got referred to them, and we closed on that deal. But I would say currently 80% of my deals have been from sports.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And what baseball team were you on?
I was on...
Or most recently through the school?
I played at the University of San Diego. I played for 4 years. I was lucky to be a part of 2 championship teams. I was lucky to be a part of 2 really good head coaches, the last one being Brock Ungrich. I attribute a lot of my traits and a lot of my growing years to him, not only as a person, not only personally, but also professionally.
Yeah.
And I keep in contact with him very, very closely. I keep in contact with him very often, and he's the best.
Yeah, that's great. I've just seen in our industry now that I've been in the industry for some time, but I love just seeing some of these younger athletes convert to the professional industry, because I felt like there's just so many great traits that have come from the mentality of an athlete and just some of the structure that some of these clubs and some of these organizations instill in an athlete. So could always tell when someone's going to excel also in the professional industry as well. So great background.
Thank you. Yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said for people who did play sports, especially collegiately.
Yeah.
Just because you're so used to having your day time blocked, and you're so used to having something pretty much every other hour. And so when sports ends, it almost comes second nature.
Wonderful.
There's no other choice.
A lot of that translates to the real world. So fantastic background. So, and Angelo, you're what I would call part of the younger generation, which is really exciting. And I love, just blending some of the, I guess, older style techniques in our industry with some of this, young blood coming in, doing business a little bit differently. I notice you're using, AI, and with your business, some form of some automation, and also as well as some, delegating some tasks and things like that. Maybe go over a little bit of that with us right now.
I think we all know that AI is not going anywhere. So it's either you adapt and you learn how to use it to your advantage, or you fall behind. And with AI, that gap that is built, it is substantial, just based off the fact that AI is growing at a speed that is that we've never seen before.
Yes.
And so, like I said, you either learn how to use it, you learn how to get tasks done faster, you learn how to make video faster, make scripts faster. But at the same time, you want to make sure that your content is coming off as, you want to make sure that your content is you. And it's
authentic.
People see when something is written by AI.
Yes.
So yes, you can use AI, you can use ChatGPT to make your scripts, your captions, but it takes that extra step where people definitely notice. I'm a strong believer that people notice that.
I agree with you.
And it's our job to use it as a tool.
Yes.
Instead of solely just relying on it.
Absolutely. You do such a great job at that. I mean, I think I heard this other phrase the other day that I can't agree with more, is that AI is not necessarily going to take the agent away from the business, but it's going to take the agent who's not using it away from the business. So makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Angelo, what are some short-term and maybe a few long-term goals that you have in our business?
Short term, let me think about that for a second. Can we go to the next question?
Of course. So we're talking a lot about social media, and really it is our form of marketing right now that I think is most widely used. I think that there's a lot of good things that come across from social media, especially like your educational posts. You can hit a lot of different people at one time, which I think is fantastic. But I think we could both agree sometimes social media, or really just marketing in general, sometimes causes some fear and some misconceptions. How do you calm some of that down, and how do you kind of correct that and circle it back to what's actually happening in our industry?
Yeah, I think it comes down again to educating a buyer, while at the same time not overwhelming them, because it's a lot of times I think we take for granted that buyers know even just the terms or even what a home loan is. The buyers that I'm working with, they don't know what a loan is. They've never got a loan. They don't know what FHA is, conventional. So you want to educate them in a way that is professional, but at the same time you want to keep it simple for them. You don't want to paralyze them. You don't want to overwhelm them.
Sure.
And it's a balance that it takes a while. I'm still learning how to go about that. But there's definitely an art to educating and laying it out for someone so that it's very simple for them to make a decision, a confident decision.
Definitely. And with that being said, is there like a 2 to 3 question checklist a first-time home buyer can use to judge whether or not they're ready?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because I think every person, every situation is different.
Sure.
Some people are blessed enough to have parents that can help them. Some of my friends, some of my colleagues graduate with no debt, no student loans, no car debt. And on the other side, there's some of my colleagues who have hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And so I think that first step that I'm always going to recommend for someone that comes to me is meet with a realtor that you trust, do your research, meet with a lender you trust, do some research, and that's their job. They're gonna lay out that game plan for you, and they're going to do the dirty work for you, and they're gonna lay it out for you.
And sometimes there's never a perfect time, right?
Right.
And there's sometimes never that perfect property, but it's getting into the business or getting in and investing. So, okay. Any like quick action a listener can take this week to get closer to buying?
Yes, I think if you've not done so already, you should always make it a habit to check your credit score, whether it's once or twice a year. You're able to check it yearly, one time for free if you go to, I'm blanking out on the website.
Yep.
Make sure your credit score, make sure you don't have any pending debts that you're not aware of, obviously. Make sure that you're on time with your credit card payments. Make sure you're not try not to use over 50% of your credit limit. Maybe ask for a credit increase if you can.
Great tip.
And start saving. I know it's very cliche, but you need some type of savings. whether it's 3%, whether it's 5%, you want to feel comfortable when you purchase a home. They're going to, like I said, you're going to submit your W-2s, your pay stubs, your bank statements, any savings accounts that you have. And with that, a lender can tell you pretty black and white what you're approved for, what your monthly payments would be. And
that's great. Yeah.
And when the time comes, you'll know, you'll find the home that you love, you'll fall in love with it, and you'll know when the time is right.
It's great advice. Sometimes they're ready, tomorrow to go by. Sometimes it's a couple months or several months of a path to success. So
Definitely.
Very great advice. And I did want to ask, any short-term goals or long-term goals that you have, Angelo, for the industry?
Yeah, I think short-term is staying consistent with my social media. Eventually, I want to do long-form on YouTube, anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. I'm still building out my short-form kind of schedule, but eventually I want social media to be consistent. I want it to be automated in the sense that I know what I'm making every single day. And I think when you're consistent and when you make content that you love and you spend time on, I think people notice it. People appreciate it. And that's when it'll start paying dividends. That's when I get to help even more buyers, first-time buyers.
Makes a lot of sense. Any long-term goals for you, Angelo?
Yeah, I think long-term, I see myself starting a team. I think I am more of a, I don't know if manager is the right word, but I'm more of a behind the scenes person in the sense that I can handle managing a team. And I think it goes on to it goes hand in hand with it goes hand in hand with wanting to educate the first-time buyer, and then on the other side of it, the first-time agent, the new agent. And I think that'll be very fulfilling.
That's a great goal, and you guys have a lot of experience with that between Leslie, Luis, and yourself. So very excited to see what's to come. But before I let you go, Angelo, I do ask this question to all of my guests because it truly is an honor to be working alongside each and every one of you. But I have to ask, with all the brokerages out there, why Finest City?
Finest City, it's not like any other brokerage. It's as simple as being able to shoot you a text, give you a call, knowing that you're going to pick up 99% of the time. It's having that mentorship. It's having that support that we know is genuine and we know is authentic. It's something that we all don't take for granted, and it's something that we appreciate because we understand that that's not the case at every brokerage. I can't say the same for all other brokerages. Being a part of an office where we're all rooting for each other, where
Absolutely.
We're all collaborating, whether it's sharing knowledge, whether it's sharing an experience. It's something that every Monday there's something new that I learn. There's something new that anyone can learn, no matter how many years you've been in the industry.
Well, we appreciate you being part of this podcast and definitely being part of the brokerage, Angelo.
Thank you.
Thank you today.
Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate it.